And that is it from us for now. The evening news is next with Mary, but from all of us on the London team, bye-bye. Enjoy your evening. In remission and back to say thank you, the Princess of Wales returns to the Royal Marsden. Kate revealed that she was treated at the specialist hospital last year after her cancer diagnosis. Today, she met staff and patients there to recognise their world-beating, life-saving work.
I've had a small taste of what you've gone through. The resilience to keep coming back and being as positive as you are.
Well, this is the first time the Princess has acknowledged that she is in remission from her cancer. She's now become a royal patron of the Royal Marsden, a role previously held by Princess Diana. Also tonight, high hopes of a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, the latest from negotiations as final details are thrashed out. Tulip Sadiq steps down as anti-corruption minister, saying she's become a distraction amid allegations of sleaze.
Hello, is that Clive Anderson Ties Limited? Yes, I think you should shut down. Bye.
Tributes to Tony Slattery. Friends and fans remember a comic genius dogged for decades by personal demons and how to become a spy, according to newly released documents from MI5, and a clue: forget the false beard.
This is the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
Good evening. The Princess of Wales revealed her cancer is now in remission as she made an emotional visit to the Royal Marsden Hospital in London. It was there that Kate underwent treatment last year. She thanked staff for their exceptional care and she comforted patients themselves facing the many challenges of cancer. In a personal message, she described the shock of her really tough chemotherapy. She said she's now focused on recovery and looking forward to a fulfilling year ahead. Here's our royal editor, Chris Shipp. So, what then are the terms of the ceasefire and when and how will it actually work? Well, our correspondent Rachel Younger is here with the details. Rachel.
Thanks, Mary. Well, negotiators from Israel and Hamas, now in the same building, which is progress in itself, are working their way through a draft agreement. It's understood that the ceasefire deal on the table would be split into 3 phases of goods and people. Now, given where we are now, Mary, much of that sounds enormously ambitious. It is all subject to change. Nothing is finalised yet. It's all intensely fragile. And that means that any optimism tonight comes with a hefty dose of caution.
OK, Rachel Younger, thank you. OK, so with all of that in mind, let's return to John Irvine, who's in Tel Aviv tonight. John, you'll have heard what Rachel said. If it is agreed, can this ceasefire last? Robert Preston in Westminster, thank you. Well, there is plenty more still to come in the ITV Evening News, including the prisons where criminal gangs ferry drugs and contraband into prisons via drones. And a woman who worked as Mohammed Al-Fayed's personal assistant at Harrods tells ITV News about the sexual abuse she says she suffered at his hands.
I was very frightened. I didn't even ring and tell my parents. I just felt humiliated and ashamed.
And join us for that and more after the break. See you then. Hello again, welcome back. Too many cancer patients are waiting too long for diagnosis and treatment in Wales. That is the damning analysis from Audit Wales, which found that targets were not being met despite increased investment. Our Wales reporter Rhys Williams heard from one patient who was misdiagnosed and, by the time her cancer was finally spotted, it was simply too late. Let's have a look at some other news stories now. And the Renters' Rights Bill is being debated for the first time by MPs in the House of Commons today. The government says it will end no-fault evictions, bidding wars for tenancies, and it will cap rent rises. Tory MPs, however, warned that more changes to the law could see an exodus of landlords, limiting the supply of homes and further driving up rents as a result. A man has appeared in court charged with the attempted murder of a nurse who was stabbed at Royal Oldham Hospital on Saturday. 37-year-old Roman Hack is also charged with possession of a bladed article after a nurse in her 50s was stabbed with scissors in the hospital's A&E department. And police have named 2 teenagers they want to speak to in connection with the murder of 14-year-old Kellyanne Bakassa, who was stabbed on a bus in Woolwich a week ago. Officers would like to speak to 15-year-old Colin Chabikwa and 16-year-old Mozawa Zazi and are appealing for the public's help in finding them. Now, the divisive issue of charging motorists to park in Britain's struggling town centres was brought before Parliament today. It comes as more councils introduce or increase parking charges, angering both businesses and indeed residents. Research by ITV News has found that Dudley in the West Midlands, Hadley in Suffolk, Cheshire East and Radstock in Somerset have all seen new charges implemented. More are being planned in North Berwick and East Lothian and also in parts of North Somerset. And as our consumer editor Chris Choi reports, with many local authorities struggling with debt, more are likely to follow. And you are watching the ITV Evening News. It's just after 7 o'clock. Here's what's still ahead. Firefighters prepare for new wildfire flare-ups in Los Angeles as forecasts warn of dangerous, strong winds. Maro Itoje has been named as England's new rugby captain ahead of the Six Nations.
Hello, is that Clive Anderson Ties Limited? Yes, I think you should shut down. Bye.
We take a look at the life of the comedian Tony Slattery, who's died at the age of 65. Have you got what it takes to be a spy? We examined the newly declassified MI5 espionage manual.
And tomorrow it is going to be a bit of a cloudy start with some sunshine breaking through. But who will be the lucky ones? I have more details on this in the national forecast later in the programme.
Well, there's all still to come, but first, a woman who worked as a personal assistant to the former Harrods boss, Mohammed Al-Fayed, has broken her silence about the sexual abuse she says she suffered at his hands. Tanya Addison told ITV News she was preyed upon almost as soon as she began working for Al-Fayed in the 1990s. She also described undergoing an intimate medical examination before being cleared to work there. Tanya has now joined a string of other women who've bravely come forward to make sexual allegations against the late Harrods boss. Well, if you have been affected by the issues in Sejal's report, you can find help and support on our website. But in the meantime, let's get an update on what is making the news tonight. The Princess of Wales revealed her cancer is now in remission as she visited the Royal Marsden Hospital in London, where she received treatment. A ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas is at the closest point yet, says the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. And the Treasury Minister, Tulip Siddiq, has quit the government after being named in an anti-corruption investigation in Bangladesh. Firefighters around Los Angeles are preparing for new wildfire flare-ups as forecasts warn dangerous strong winds could fuel yet more destruction. 2 large wildfires and 2 smaller ones continue to burn or are only partially contained. From LA, here's our correspondent Romilly Weeks with the latest. There is more still to come on the programme. Tips and tricks for becoming a spy. MI5 declassifies an espionage manual from World War II.
And what will the weather be like for the rest of this week? I have the details in the full forecast that's coming up in a couple of minutes.
Do join me and Alex for that after the break. We'll see you then. Time for the weather now, and Alex is here. So what can we expect then? What's coming?
Well, actually not a bad week on the whole. Nothing's really sticking out at the moment, other than it's going to be largely quiet. And here's why. In fact, let's start with today. As you can see, this was the satellite and radar picture from around midday. You can see a fair bit of cloud around, but also some breaks around. So we've seen some. So there you have it. High pressure, large in control this week. So not a great deal to worry about. Lots of dry weather and also some spells of sunshine.
OK, that'll do. Thank you very much, Alex. And finally tonight, have you got what it takes to be a spy? Declassified documents from the National Archive reveal the top tips given by MI5 to new recruits during the Second World War. They include ditching false beards and moustaches and a warning that the job can be pretty boring. All a far cry from the glamour of 007, as Chloe Keedy reports. And that's all from us for now. We're back at 10 from me and the evening team. Bye-bye.